Now, me streaming y'all really don't have nothing to do with y'all. Okay. On your paper, you've got in front of you, what is it? 2, 5?
Yes.
Is that accurate? 2, 5? All right, so we're going to be talking about scatter lines, lines of best fit or lines of fit. I think they say lines of fit. Linear regression, finding missing values. What we're talking about. Now, this is actually something we're gonna work on it today and tomorrow because there's so much involved in it, okay? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the correlation between items. Now, correlation just means how much do they relate to each other. Correlation just means how do they relate, right? Now, correlation can be positive. It can be negative. Or it can be none. Like you could have no correlation. Like, for example, if we were talking about your height versus your GPA, do those have anything to do with each other? Does how tall you are make you have better grades? No. So those would have no correlation, right? Now, if we were talking about how much you study versus your GPA, would that have a correlation? I mean, it would, right? People can act like it wouldn't all they want to, but the fact of the matter is the more you study, the better grade you're going to get. That's all there is to it, right? Now, there comes a point in time when you've maxed out the amount of hours you can study, but still, you get the idea. If we were looking at the amount of time you stay up at night watching TikToks compared to your grades, what's probably going to happen? What kind of correlation are you probably going to show? It's probably going to be negative. Now, are there some people who can hang in there for a little bit, staying up late, and still hang in there and have good grades? Yes, but if it becomes something you do repeatedly, and I use TikTok, but really, it's anything that you're not getting enough sleep. That means if, I've had students who worked in the past. They went to work at midnight and worked until 5 o'clock in the morning and went home, took a shower, and come to school. You can sustain that for a short period of time. But in the long run, it's going to catch up with you. Now, sometimes we just got to do what we got to do, right? Like sometimes that just is what life is and we have to deal with it. We do not have to lay in bed at night and watch TikTok or Snapchat or Netflix or whatever it is y'all are watching these days. We don't have to do that. So make better choices. Okay, on we go. Now, when we're talking about either positive or negative, now no correlation is going to look like this. You got random dots, right? But if you're talking about a positive correlation, it just means that the trend goes up, and a negative correlation just means that the trend goes down, right? Now, if those dots are real close together like so, that is a strong correlation. But if they're real strung out, but they just generally go down, that's a weak. Now, you can have a strong positive or a weak positive. You can have a strong negative or a weak negative, right? Everybody with me? Could you have a strong no correlation? No. That's like saying, what sign is 0? Does 0 have a sign? No. You can't have a strong or a weak no correlation. There's no correlation. It can't be strong or weak. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Y'all good? Y'all good in the hood? Feeling right? I started to say on a Friday night, but we're not even close, right? Not even close to Friday night. Oh, speaking of juniors, I need 8 more people to work in the concession stand on Thursday. Not on Friday. Our game this week's on Thursday. I need 8 more juniors to volunteer to work in the concession stand. So, Help me spread the word. Okay. Now, y'all remember scatter plots? So we're going to plot these points. I need you to notice something. Does anybody notice what I want you to notice? Does anybody see it? What do you notice? What about the graph? Yeah. So you gotta be careful. If they give you the scale, you gotta pay attention. This is not 1 by 1, right? This is 1 by 1. This is 1 by 3. So when we graph 1, 1, we have to go over 1, but then we got to go up like a third. Right? That's our 1, 1 right there. 3, 5. Over 3 and then up 2/3. Like there's. Right? Okay, y'all graph them. I'll graph them. We'll be back in a second, okay? Can you graph the one that says 10 question mark? No, because you don't know what X is. Right? The only way we could graph that is if we just randomly put points on 10 and they may or may not work. Right? So this is a scatter plot. These points are independent of each other. They are not dependent on each other at all. But there's something down here that affects something over here. Now, if we're going to make a line of best fit, that means we're going to make a line that goes through the majority of this data the best it can. We want it to sort of balance out, right? So when we make our line of best fit, where we put it is a little bit subjective. Like I would probably put this one, say like right there-ish, right? And that's because it's hitting more points than it's not. Is there a point that's off of it? Yes. But it's pretty close, right? It's pretty close. Anybody want to get a ruler first try it? If you want to get one, go do it now. Okay. Now, we've got our line of best fit. What kind of correlation is this, by the way? Positive? What kind of positive? Very strong, right? Like it's almost in a dead line. Very strong positive correlation. Now we're going to use two ordered pairs, 2 points. And we're going to write an equation to predict our missing thing we don't know. So remember last week when we wrote equations? We used point slope form. We used slope intercept form. Remember doing that? We're going to do that exact same thing right here. So we can pick any 2 of these equations. It doesn't matter which 2 we use. Any 2. We can use any 2 points. Now, based on which 2 points you pick, your equation may be slightly different. They may not be exactly the same. Which 2 points would you like to pick? Anybody? Which 2 points y'all want to use? 4, 7, and 6, 11. So 4, 7. And 6, 11. Now, I need some people to volunteer to use different points. 2 different points. Who wants to use anything else? All right, Rogelio's got me. Somebody else. Use different points. Anybody? Rogelio, it's up to you. You got to show it. All right, just pick any 2 points. I don't care what you do. Actually, I am going to ask you to pick 7, 12, and then anything else. So 7, 12, and anything else. Okay, so step 1, we're going to find our slope. Because if we have 2 points, we can find the slope, right? So M equals 11 minus 7, this 11 minus this 7, over 4 minus 6. Something is wrong. Why am I getting a negative? Lord help me. 6 minus 4. Why did I do that? Who knows? I'm crazy. Thank you, Rogelio, for watching. Okay, 11 minus 7 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. My slope is 2. Rogelio, you got your slope yet? It's not 2, is it? You got 7 over 4? Okay, so 7 over 4 is not 2, right? But keep hanging there, okay? Keep going. So next step. We could either put one of these points in for slope-intercept form and our slope in and solve for B, or we can put it in point-slope form. It doesn't matter which way we do it. Doesn't make any difference. I'm all for using point-slope form and getting extra practice. So, Y. Which point y'all want to use? 7, 4, 7, or 6, 11? So y minus 7 equals 2 parentheses x minus 4. Now that is an equation in point slope form, but I don't want it in point slope form. I want it in slope intercept form. So now I got to multiply the parentheses and I got to move that 7. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is 8. I'm going to add that 7. So I get y. No, somehow I have done it again. That's supposed to be a negative 8. Y equals 2x minus 1. That's my equation. Now, Rogelio did not have a slope of 2, so we know his equation is not going to be y equals 2x minus 1, but it's going to be something real close. What'd you get, Rogelio? Y equals 7/8 x. Oh, 7/4 x, and then what? He's not done yet. We'll give him a minute.
Slow.
What y'all do this weekend? Anything fun? Anything exciting? No exciting? Anything restful?
Do you like Texas Roadhouse?
Did you see me at Texas Roadhouse?
I'm saying, do you like it?
Yeah, Saturday.
Because I saw you one time.
You saw me one time?
Yeah, like, like you pressed.
Saturday?
No, it was I don't know.
Oh, because I was... Yes. What'd you get? You got negative 47? Over 4? What is... Yeah, something ain't right. We're just going to... We'll come back to that later. Saturday I was at Hot Springs at Texas Roadhouse, and I kept thinking I saw people I knew. I kept being like, is that so? But I thought you may have been one of the people I kept thinking I was seeing that I should know. Yes, I do like Texas Roadhouse. That's good. Okay. So, Rogelio has got a math error somewhere. I don't want to go find it right now. The point that I wanted to make, though, y'all, how close is 7 divided by 4 to 2? I mean, it's pretty dang close, right? Based on which point you use, your equation may be slightly different. Okay? Based on which point you use. Is there a best line? Yes, there is a best line. But we little moron humans in our pea brains can't calculate what the best line is. But you know what can? This sweet baby. Which is why I told you you needed one. Okay? Now, first thing I want you to do, you're going to like this. I promise. First thing I want you to do is clear it. Do you know how to clear the memory on your calculator? So you're going to do 7 second plus sign. Second plus sign. 7, 1, 2. Okay. Second plus sign. 7, 1, 2. Now, let's say you don't have those numbers memorized. See where above plus sign says memory right there? Y'all see that? So if you do second memory, that gets you into the memory. What do we want to do in the memory? What's our goal here? What are we going for? So we're going to pick 7 because it's reset, right? Then, okay, what part do we want to reset? We're going to reset the whole dang thing, so all around. And then it says, you know what? Because it thinks you're done, right? So it says, are you sure? Because this is a bad thing if you reset it. It erases all data. Like you didn't know that to get there, right? Like you didn't know what was going to happen. Do we still want to reset it? Yes. And when it says RAM cleared, that means you know that you got it all cleared. Okay? Now, why did I make you clear all that data out? Because 7th period just did this activity, and I didn't want you to be a bunch of big old cheaters. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, when we have data in a scatter plot like this, we can put it in our calculator. And we can do so much with it. We can have our calculator graph it if we want to look at a graph. We can have our calculator run different regressions on it. We're going to talk about what that is in a second. We can get the equation. We can do so much with it. I'm going to show you, and you're going to work through it with me today. Okay? So anytime we're working with data, we're going to have to put it in so that our calculator knows we're working with data. And we're going to start that with a button called Stat. Do y'all see the Stat button? You'll see it right there. That little pretty sweet baby right there. So when you press that button and you press Enter, you should get L1, L2, L3. Does anybody not have that? So I need to show you something. Do not do this. I don't want to have to fix your calculator. Okay? So put your calculator down so I can tell you're not actually doing this. If you arrow up to one of those categories like that and you hit the delete key, you just deleted that list. It no longer exists. I can bring it back, but right now at this moment, that list doesn't exist anymore. Do not arrow up there and hit delete. Okay? Delete deletes. Like that's a delete. Okay? Okay, how can you clear a whole list? Well, if we arrow up to where that is, and I'm just going to randomly type a few things in here. I don't know why I just did 5 plus 5. Did y'all see what it did though? Okay, let's say I'm typing this and I'm like, oh, I'm typing the complete wrong list. We're not even on this problem. And I arrow up there. With the name black, I can hit clear and then hit enter, and it will delete everything in the list without deleting the list. Okay? Alternatively, you can clear your calculator, but that clears everything, not just that list, right? Okay, so we're going to put in our information on number 2. We're going to put our X's in L1. Now, it doesn't matter where we put them, but I'm giving you a little hint here. You want to put them in L1. Because when we do a thing here in a minute, it defaults to L1 being X and L2 being Y. So you want to have automatically already put them in L1 because it just makes sense instead of having to change something later on, right? So we're going to put X's in L1. We're going to put Y's in L2. To enter data, you're just going to press the number and press enter. And that gets you to the next row. And then the number and enter. And then the number and enter. Y'all get it? Go. Let's see if you can beat me. Are we going to put 50 in? Why not? Yeah, we don't know what the Y is. We can't put it in. How do you get to the next column? How do you get over there? Arrow. Where did that come from? No, because we don't know what the y value is. So we're not going to put. Okay, now once you've got this data in here, you got a question, Bob? No, just stretching. Once we have this data in here, we have it in, we can do lots of stuff with it, right? So, and also, I want to point this out. Do y'all know how to go to your home button? You know how to go to your home screen? Like you're working and also you just do some math, like just regular old math, multiplying something, 10 times 2 or something like that, right? Do y'all know how to get there? So, do y'all see above mode it says quit in blue? It doesn't matter where you are in the calculator. If you want to get out of it, quit. Now, how do we quit? Second mode, that gets it out. So no matter where you are, you're in the y equals screen, you don't want to be there no more, second mode. It's not second mode, it's really quit. And I have always been like, just press quit. And I always have to explain to students repeatedly 4,000 times, quit is second mode. Look, I don't see a quit button. I've only told you 4,000 times it's second mode. So I got to where I just said second mode instead. But it's the quit button. We're quitting that, okay? That's why it works. It's not some magical thing. Like it's programmed to do that. It actually is called quit right there. Okay, so let's go back. If you got out of it, we're going back to it. That's what it looks like, right? But let's say I'm ready to do something with it. I want to do some work. I want to run a regression. Now a regression is where you're figuring out the equation that fits that data. The equation that fits it the best. Hit stat one more time. Okay, now this is the screen we looked at to start with, right? If we arrow over, see what happens when we arrow over? What are we in now? Calc. What do y'all think calc means? Calculate. This is to calculate various regressions. That's what this does right here. We're looking for linear regression. Do y'all see linear regression? Number 4. 2 ways you can pick this. You can hit the number 4. That's what I would do. Or you can arrow down and then hit enter on it. I'm just going to press the number 4 because that's faster, right? This is what the screen I get when I pick number 4. See how it says X list and then it has this and it says L1? Remember a while ago when I said we're going to put our X's in L1, list 1? Yeah, this is why. Because I knew that this was going to default to list 1, right? Where are our Y values? L2. We could change these if we needed to. If we put them in the wrong list, we could switch this. So we wanted to change the names. Remember up here at stat, right? You'll see above it, it says list. If we do second stat like this, we just change that to L2. Y'all see? I'm going to go back to L1. So I'm going to do second and pick 1. Change it back to L1. I wanted it up to L1. I'm just showing you that you can change it if you need to. Right? So we've got Y, X's in L1, Y's in L2s. We're not going to worry about frequency list right now, but we are going to store our equation. Now, when you store your equation, you're telling your calculator, yo, calc, I need you to put this in Y equals for me somewhere. You know that Y equals screen over here where you type equations in to look at a graph, right? Well, we're going to tell our calculator, we want you to store this equation for us so that we can use it or look at it, right? So we have to tell it where we want it to store. I don't have anything in this calculator right now, so I'm just going to tell it Y1. But to tell it Y1 takes a little bit of work, not a whole lot, and you'll get it real fast, but just a little bit. So y'all see where it says bars? Right there, bars. That stands for variables. So we're going to click bars. And then what variables do y'all think we want? We want Y bars. We want Y variables. We want Y equals, right? So we're going to go arrow over to Y bars. And then guess what? They got to be functions, right? We want them to be functions, so we're just going to hit enter right there. And then look, now we get to pick Y1, Y2, Y3. We can put it whichever one we want to. Which one do we want to put it in? We're going to put it in y1. So now we're saying, hey, I want you to run a linear regression. I want you to use the x's from L1, the y's from L2, and I want you to store my equation in y1. And now that we are ready, we're going to calculate. So with it flashing on there, hit enter. And you get this. Now what this means is my A, what's that look like? Y equals AX plus B. Slope-intercept form, isn't it? A is our slope. So it's giving us this slope of 0.949546666. That's actually just 6 repeating, right? And a B of 5.18. Now if we did these as points ourselves, we might have got slightly different numbers, right? We might have, actually, if you do this yourself, you're probably going to get like a 1 and a 4, like for reals. Because you'll probably pick the first and the last, and that's what it winds up giving you. But this is the best line of fit, the line of best fit, okay? Now, if you hit the Y equals button, do y'all see it? There's your slope. There's your y-intercept, right? And we could, if we wanted to, don't do this. I just want you to watch me. It's easier for me to just show you than you try to do it. We could go into our mode and be like, you know what? We don't need all those dang decimals. Let's just carry 2 decimal places. And evidently it didn't do it in there. Probably because I already have it stored. But it would round it if I didn't. Hang on. That. I'll be really irritated if this doesn't work. Do y'all remember how to get me there? You want me to put it in 2? So there's our, see? And there it is, right? Now, having it in there, now what we could do is we could go look at the graph of the line. We could go look at the graph of the points. We could do all that. But that's not what I wanted to show you, okay? I want to show you something that's going to change your entire life for all of your life, okay? Have you used a table before? You've used tables before, right? Like y'all have used tables before, correct? Everybody's used tables before? Okay? Now, if you didn't change your float, because I told you not to, then you probably just have like 1 and then 6.14, 2 and then 7.09, right? Yours doesn't have these decimals. I have set my decimals to be 2 places, right? I'm going to go back to float. Float means it changes based on what the problem has, or I can set it to a specific number, okay? You've probably used this before a little bit, but have you really used it to its full capacity? I doubt it. Because more than likely, you think that you can only look at numbers if the x is a nice, pretty integer, right? We can actually change this table so that we don't have to look at x's that are just nice, pretty integers. And we're going to do that with table set. So we're going to go to second, and then this button right here, table set. And that very first thing there, what does that say? Table start. Now what does that mean? Does that mean you can't see anything but that? Like you can't go past it? No, it's just the view. It's just giving you that view. So if I change this to like 10, and then I go look at my table, it starts where x is 10. Can I still arrow up? Yes. Okay. That's really good if you're in like the thousands. Like if I want to see when x is 1,000, I started x to being 1,000. That's a lot easier than going. right? Okay. But I'm going to start at 0. Then, do y'all see this? This is what's that little triangle mean? It's delta. What's it mean? Changing. You know, I asked my 7th period class that. My 7th period class taught them just the same as I taught y'all. They had no idea. Not one clue. Change in table. That means how much are we changing our x's by? Right now it's 1. So that means we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could change it to anything we wanted to. We could change it to what? How about just a 1,000? Let's go with 1,000. So this is every 1,000. Right? But here's my favorite part. Do y'all see where it says independent and it says auto ask? Y'all see that? Auto means it just auto generates that information. You don't have to do anything. It just auto generates it. But if I tell it ask and then I go back to my table, it's going to look like nothing's there. All I have to do is tell it what X I want. Yeah. So I say, oh, I want 5.25. It calculates it for me. I want 79. Calculates it for me. 4,215,897. I know. I didn't plan a number out before I started speaking, and then it was too late. I was already wrong. Okay. Now, could you see when this would be useful? Could you? How about any dang time you want to solve an equation? Like ever? Well, no, you really don't. Like if you have any sort of y equals, right? Like, and I did not show 7th period this, maybe tomorrow. But let's say you have an equation like 2x plus 5 equals 7x minus 10. Okay? So like 2x plus 5, we'll put that in one spot. And then down here, we're going to put 7x minus 10. Is that what I said? This key right here. That key right beside that alpha key is the x key. Okay, so if I go to my table right now, I would have to tell it what value for x to get values for y back, and that's not going to work for this. Okay? But if I go to my table set and I change this back to auto, and I change this back to, say, 0, and I go right here. Nope, what did I do wrong? Oh, I've got it on 1,000. So let's change it to 0. No, not 0. 1. Okay, now this may not be perfect, but if we find where these two y's are the same thing, that's what value our x is. So if we look through here, oh look, right there, do you see it? See, x is the same as x is the same here? That means that's the only value for y where these two x's will be the same thing at the same time. That's the solution to our equation. That's how you solve your equation. Ooh, me?
No.
You sure? It was her? You was oohing? She's so sweet and bubbly, though. Are you a happy mean girl, Christina? Are you a happy mean girl? Okay, where we at? What time is it? We have 7 minutes. I'm actually going to stop. I am going to stop because I feel like I've overloaded you with information today. So I'm going to stop and let you sort of process some of this. Okay? And we will work on it some more tomorrow. All right? No, I didn't tell him not to.